top of girls' wish lists instead of favourite toys. Instead of Barbie, Cindy and Tiny Tears, oh, I remember Tiny Tears, girls want PlayStations, iPads and Xboxes. I would show you a dolly at this point if I hadn't chucked it over the other side of the studio. Actually, I've got another one. There we go. There we go. Don't worry, here we are. In an increasingly computerised world, it's not a bad thing, is it, that young girls aren't being left behind the boys when it comes to technology. It could also hopefully mean an end to the gender stereotype toys of yesteryear. But a new study has found a third of parents regret giving their children gadgets because of fears they will stunt their creative and social skills, while two-thirds blame new technology for reducing family time with their kids. No parent ever regretted giving their daughter a dolly, did they? The study said that kids need toys they can play with their hands to develop their motor skills. Usually they abuse them, that's what they do. Is that just me in my head? They do, that's what my kids do. They just mutilate these Barbie dolls. So which is the better toy for girls, dolls or console games? Interesting, in my little props department here, which is clearly Matthew's playbox that he's just left in the dressing room. These aren't exactly state of the art, are they? Look, this is the example he's given me of... What's that, 1980 or something? That's a bit long time. Sophia, what do you think? Should we bother us this one?
Yeah, no, I think this is a really important issue, and it's not so much about the dolls, it's about the computers. I mean, look, when I was a child, I never had any interest in dolls. I never owned a Barbie. I found them repellent. But I did have a very creative imagination, and my brother and I would be outside playing and kind of inventing worlds for ourselves and climbing up trees and all of that stuff. And I think the problem with computers is that it's very dangerous to present children with a virtual world and not allow their imaginations to do the work for them. So that's where I think the problem is. I think it's a very dangerous thing. I think children need to be playing outside.
Yeah. But to be honest, and Amanda, I don't know what your situation is with a 3-year-old, sometimes these all-absorbing computer games are very handy for the parent, aren't they?
They are, and I think that's the trouble. It's finding a balance. That's where we've got to be careful, and I think as parents, and I readily hold my hand up. I remember last night I was trying to cook dinner, and Willow, my daughter's very much into role-playing and dollies and all sorts at the moment, and she's like, I'll be Ariel, Mummy, and you be Ursula, and it's like, I'm trying to cook the pasta, and then I find myself thinking, I'm going to reach for the iPhone or whatever and put a game on, and you have to be very careful about that. I certainly she can use my iPad better than I can, which is quite disturbing, but I do make sure that I set aside time every day to do jigsaws with her, to be Ursula, the evil sea witch. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm much better at Eric than I am at Ursula, but I do try very hard. And I mean, and last night she was in the bath, and I knew we were talking about this today, and I had a little look, and she's in there with Barbie and Ariel and Snow White, and they're all going off to the Wicked Forest. And it's great to watch her imagination. But equally, if we're going up to Manchester to visit the in-laws this weekend, and you can guarantee that iPad will be on as soon as we get in that car. And I do feel a bit guilty about that, because I remember as a kid, when we were on car journeys, it was I Spy, it was count how many red cars you could see, and...
But they are going to need these skills. They're going to need the technical skills, because it is very much part of the emerging world, isn't it? So you can't completely keep them in a kind of Enid Blyton bubble, can you?
I limit it to when I'm in a supermarket queue and all hell is about to break loose, and I limit it to, she probably has maybe about an hour a day where she'll use one or the other of the things. And
but I think that, you know, what's interesting about this set of statistics that people have picked out, for boys, you know, the move towards electronic gizmos happened quite a while ago, and the sort of traditional construction toys that boys would have used, or still do use, but to a lesser extent, they got knocked off the perch a while ago. But this is the first time that for girls that they have come into this kind of electronic world as a number one.
Hence the obesity as well. You know, like Sophia was saying, you know, when we were kids, you got in from school straight out until it was tea time. And I think we're going to develop over time this sort of hunched, because I look on the trains and things now, and everyone's sitting doing this, and you know, and you just think any minute now our necks are going to start to grow, aren't they? Our shoulders will start.
Well, probably through evolution we'll have huge thumbs,
or big ones,
massive big thumbs,
thin pointy ones.
But there's a good side of it, Jeremy. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, yes, of course, kids need to play outside and everything, and that's not just down to dolls. I mean, there is the whole sexism argument, isn't it, about dolls, and the young girls are, you know, the Barbies with their figures. It's unrealistic, and the girls grow up wanting to be little princesses and aren't really looking at the real world. And I don't think the kids should have to face up to the real world in every aspect. But you kids can still go and play outside. They don't have to have dolls. But I think it's good if they want to play computer games as well, because it means also that boys and girls can play together equally. as well. You've got to encourage that, and that they're just kids, aren't they? And then they can all join in together.
Yeah, though I have said, I mean, a lot of the female figures in these computer games are still the Barbie dolls in a computer image. It's not that they're necessarily becoming...
a massive muscular or whatever. I mean, but they're computer-generated images. It's not quite the same thing.
I think as parents we kid ourselves. I kid myself that the Dora the Explorer app that I have will help her memory because it's a memory game and it's a jigsaw thing. And what worries me is as we go on and we get busier and busier and busier, it's much easier to just give the kids something to sit in front of the TV or whatever than actually spend time with our children. That's what we need to start doing.
I mean, Sophia, when you were saying that you and your brother were out in the woods and playing all these games, I take it your mum and dad weren't with you?
No.
No, I mean, I think there's a lot nowadays about, spending time with your children, which I do think is important. But also, I've got to try and get my kids to spend time on their own or with, well, as two sisters or with friends. And that I can't be involved in every game. My mum never came out in the garden and played with me. I would never have expected her to.
But we've got more and more, I think we've got a generation of more and more single children as well now. I look at all of my friends, we've all left it a little bit too late to have them. We've all had one, and a lot of my friends didn't go on to have any more. So I look at my daughter playing on her own now, and I do feel that I have to get involved with her.
Yeah, but some of my happiest times were playing on my own. Yeah. Actually, that's not a good end to a programme, is it? Some of my happiest times
were
playing...
It explains a lot, though.
With myself. Well, yes, it does. Do you think? No, but I did have my dollies with me. I have to say, every Tiny Tears I ever had a crew cut at the end of it, which wasn't a particularly good thing. It was at all. My lovely panel, thank you very much indeed. Sophia, thank you very much to you. It's funny you saying that about the imagination out there, and then you became an actress. So, I mean, there's obviously a link there, isn't there, about stimulating an interest in all such things. I'm afraid that is all we've got time for today. Sophia, it really has been lovely to have you here. Best of luck in Utopia. London's Soho Theatre until the 14th of July. Jeremy and Amanda, a fantastic start to the week, as ever. We'll see you both again tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, your fabulous panel. Tomorrow, I've suddenly got the fright of my life when I realise that Labour spin doctor Alistair Campbell joins the panel. I better do my homework. I'll be having a very late night tonight. We'll be discussing the headlines. I'll be getting talked at, and we'll ask if people in the public eye with mental illnesses should speak about their condition. Thanks for choosing us this Monday. I'll see you tomorrow.
Do you want to be part of the Wright Stuff? Then why not join our live studio audience? Call us